Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the Road to Pro. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different from normal. We're going to be going over 4 games that I played live on stream, but rather than just giving you my live stream reaction, I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of a voiceover here. I know this isn't what we would usually do on the channel, but I wanted to try something a little bit different out today since we had some absolutely banger games on stream that I needed to show you guys. So I apologize if the pre-recorded games aren't really your vibe, but hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit deeper analysis with this. But that's all I've got planned for today, guys, so without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright guys, so we're jumping into the very first game of the stream right here. We are picking up a little bit over 200 elo away from Masters 2 right now. But here's the first draft. We had Brawl Ball center stage. The other team went with the Cordelia's first pick. My team went with a Rico Janet. The other team went with a Carl and a dog. And even though I typically don't like Meeple into the dog, I feel like Buster was probably the only other pick that would have made sense. But the Meeple is a very overpowered brawler that I've not nearly utilized as much as I probably should have. So I wanted to get a Meeple game in. It's pretty good into the Carl. It's pretty good into the Cordelia's. And then I was kind of just counting on my Janet and my Rico to deal with the roughs lane. So that's kind of our strategy. That's kind of my thoughts behind the Meeple pick, but let's get into the actual game. Alright guys, jumping into the first game right here, we are going to have the dog on the left lane. So basically my entire strategy here is, as long as I stay as far away from the dog as physically possible, we're probably gonna be okay. So I'm counting on my Rico there. I do see the Cordelia's moving up here, so I wanted to help out a little bit more with that. But we see the dogs pushing up, the Rico's pushing up. We do have to deal with those bags, which is definitely the most difficult thing for Meeple to deal with in this matchup here. I know I said I wanted to fade the dog lane, but I noticed a good opportunity for a pinch right there, so we had to take it. Anyway, we're going to be moving up now. We've got the Cord, we've got the Carl, and we're just trying to keep on this positioning right here. I do want to stay away from the dog, but the Cord is kind of making that a little bit difficult for me. So we're trying to press up here, stay out of the Cordelia's range. I feel like Meeple is a very strong Cordelia's counter just because you outrange him, and there's really not that much of an outplay that a Cordelia's can do, especially once you get that Meeple super. Their dog is going to make a pretty smart play of breaking the wall right here, since we have 2 people on our team that benefits from the walls, whereas they only kind of have the dog that benefits from the wall. So it's a play against me, it's a play against my Rico. It's probably the right choice overall, but once again, their dog is doing a good job forcing this bad matchup for myself. So I'm trying to fade that right here, hoping that my Rico is going to take the hit and kind of take that left lane for me. Not really doing too much so far, but my Janet's in the air, so I'm going to take that opportunity to kind of force a lane switch right here. We do get the kill onto the Carl, but we still have the dog up here. That is a very difficult lane for us to deal with, as well as my other teammate in the realm, but the Cord's going to get dropped behind us. I do finally get my Meeple hypercharge though, so we're going to take advantage of that. We were almost able to get a goal right there, but the Cord hits an amazing super, bro. Like, I genuinely have no idea how he sniped me from there, but he sniped me from there, so we're going to get stuck in the realm. We do spawn out at the perfect time, though. We get 1 kill, we get 2 kills, we almost get 3 kills, but it's enough to get our super shot, and we're going to be able to score the first goal of the set. Loading it back up now, guys. We are still up a goal right here, but we do have a lot of pressure coming in from the other team. That was a Cordelia's hyper taking my boy to the realm. So my Rico's going to have a decent matchup in the realm since he is able to utilize those walls, but definitely surprised he was able to survive for as long as he does. I do get clapped right there though, and the dog super in combination with the ball is going to be able to give them the equalizer right here, so not good for us. We do have our Janet with a hypercharge, which should be relatively helpful, but she's kind of getting tagged up a little bit. We are 5 seconds. We are 10 seconds away from overtime though, so we're kind of holding out for that at this point. The Cord does squander his super. Not really sure why he would like jump away too. I feel like that was kind of a weird play by him, but I'm going to be really weak to this Carl fire. I am going to use my Scream gadget to make sure that the Carl doesn't kill me, but would you look at that? The Carl kills me anyway, so I can't really tell what's going on up there with my teammates, but definitely a pretty rough death for myself. Probably an avoidable one if I juke a little bit better. We are 1 away from hyper. Not that it really matters. It's a pretty useless super, pretty useless hyper in overtime, especially since I'm rocking with the damage star power, so I don't even get that increased reload inside my super zone. But the teammates are doing a good job holding it down so far. We aren't really doing a whole lot on our own side here. We do get like very minorly outranged by the dog, but the Cord squanders another super. But with my Janet airborne, there's not a whole lot we can do to stop that. She tries her very hardest to land on the ball, but it's going to be too little too late, and we're going to end up losing game number 1. Moving into game number 2, definitely not feeling the greatest about it, but I did realize that as long as I stay on the Cord, as long as I stay on the Carl, I've got good matchups, so I'm going to try a little bit harder to force my way over to this right-hand lane. I do believe I'm a little bit outranged by the Carl. Obviously, I'm a little bit outranged by the dog, so I definitely want to be on the Cord if at all possible. But the Carl is going to make that pretty difficult. They're going to have the Carl and the dog holding down the lane. So good strategy from them. And they're making my life a little bit harder than it needs to be. I believe the dog is trying to get his way over onto my lane as well. But the Carl is holding me down to a high enough degree where they're not really going to force that matchup switch too hard. I'm moving up this right hand lane this time because I don't want to give that Carl free value with his fire gadget. We do get a nice kill, so I'm going to try to swing the ball up here. My Janet's doing an amazing job holding down positioning, and she's going to take to the skies right here. I'm very close to being able to force this goal, but not quite yet. I'm going to try to swing the ball up to my Janet, but she's a little bit off with the shot. Definitely a little bit tough right there. The synergy was almost there. It would have been a really awesome goal, but we're not able to pull it off, so we're just going to try to hold the mid for now. We do know there's a guy in the corner here, but it's the dog, and he's got his bags, so not really worth my time to force it too much up there. So we're just going to try to chill for a second here. I do end up tapping the dog right there, so that's very nice for us, but my Rico is barely going to be able to defend that goal. I feel like the Cordelius kind of squandered it a little bit. Like, I feel like he probably had the angle if he was able to shoot it a little bit better. We do pop out at the dog, but he kind of has permanent bags right there. We're kind of just saving our gadgets for these Carl Supers, though, which I think is probably the right play. Like, obviously, unless the cord, like, gets in my face and I need to save myself, it's definitely best to use that gadget just to knock the Carl out of his super. But we do have a hyper now. Probably should have played it higher because the cord's going to be able to retreat behind that wall, but my Rico goes out with an amazing super. We've got both of these guys one shot in the corner, and my Janet's going to be able to clean that up. The dog does break his own wall, but I get sent to the realm. But luckily, if the cord's not there, then he's not able to defend against my teammates with the ball, so we do get that first goal. Had to take one for the team there, and Janet's got hyper now. So re-racking it once more, guys. We do get that first goal again, but I mean, we got scored on last time when we had the first goal, but there is less time on the clock right here, so we need to stall for 30 more seconds to be able to secure this bag. We got a good angle on this cord too, so we're going to be able to pinch that with our Rico. Obviously, things are looking pretty up for us. My Janet's using the hypercharge finally, and I'm just going to try to swing the ball up to her, using the scream to stop the meeple again. That ball bounce was crazy. I really still don't know what happened on that, but it's pretty much too little too late for them at this point. We're kind of KD farming to a tiny degree, but they're not going to have enough time to get a goal here, guys, so we're going to take game number 2, and now we're setting ourselves up for an absolute banger in game number 3. They won the first one, we won the second one, and I feel like a lot of the difference there is that I faded the dog in the game number 2. So now we're all tied up at 1 game apiece, guys. We're going to be trying to take that right lane again just to make sure we stay away from the roughs if at all possible. My teammates have done a great job accommodating for me there, but the dog is also going to switch up his strats now. You see he's on the right side. I want to go help out with this Cordelius, but at the same time, I feel like my Rico might need a little bit of help out with the Carl, so I'm going to fade a little bit over to the left-hand lane, try to take this Carl matchup from the wide angle. Since the Cordelius doesn't get a kill immediately, we're able to do that, but he does kill my Janet, so we're going to have to cycle back. Not my Janet, my Rico, my bad, guys. Anyway, dog is in a power position. He's got his bags. Really not a whole lot I can do there, but my Janet makes a good fly. She does end up dropping to the dog, but it's not a huge deal right now. We're in a pretty even matchup, but I do get sent to the realm, so I'm going to have to kind of bide my time right here. Bro showing me some love into the realm. Shout out to this Cordelius, but they're going to be in a really good spot right now, so I'm just going to try to get a little bit of damage. Luckily, they did not have the ball up there. If they did, the cord might have been able to finesse me. I do get caught lacking by the dog, though. Had no idea where he was, and he's going to take advantage of that. So now it's just my Rico. My Janet's in the realm, so she's not really able to help him. My Rico does a great job stalling. I'm going to use my gadget to try to help with a little additional stalling. And somehow we end up defending that goal. I definitely thought we might have got scored on, but we did a good job playing defense. The dog kind of wastes his hyper treat too. Like, nobody's going to be able to grab that. So I really don't like that strategy from him. Like, if you're going to go for that wall break, probably just use your normal treat and save your hyper for the next one. We use our gadget to mute out the Carl again, though. And now me and my Janet are kind of on a breakaway. So I'm just going to swing the rock up to her, and she's going to be able to punch it in. I probably should have just shot it into the goal realistically, but I wanted to give my Janet the glory. So once again, for the 3rd game in a row, we get the first goal. Now we have 1 minute left to stall. So definitely stressing out right now. My Janet's got the hyper again, though. Feel like she always gets that by the time that we score. So feeling good about that. We've got the Carl. We've got the cord on our side. He's not going to be able to time that jump perfectly, but he does survive. He does take my Rico to the realm, so a little bit scary, especially with my Janet on 400 HP, but I've got the Meeple Hyper in hand. I know that we can probably make a pretty good play with this, so we're just going to play it here, get that Cordelius dealt with almost immediately. The Carl is trying to push up on our left-hand side, though, being a little bit scary, and the ball is in a power position as well, so I got to make sure I don't give this dog an angle for the super shot. Try to keep him as weak as we can. He does use the bags, which is, of course, very frustrating, bro. I hate the dog bags with a passion, but we got the cord right where we want him. He does have to jump away. I feel like the cord definitely could have been better about being aggressive with his jumps, but he didn't, so we're going to take advantage of that. We're going to use our last gadget here just to make sure the Carl doesn't cook us with that super. My Janet takes to the skies, and I am a little bit scared right here with my Rico getting taken to the realm, so now the only lose condition is if I somehow let the dog score there. We do not. We clear the ball, and we're going to end up taking that game number 1 victory, guys. Ended up with an 11-4 stat line on the Meeple, star player for myself. Definitely felt really good about that. I feel like the main thing was, like I said, guys, just not taking a bad matchup if I can avoid it at all. Like, the Janet counters the dog easily. I get countered by the dog easily. So definitely try to get your better matchups, especially if you're a brawler like Meeple who can get hard countered. But that game is going to give us 87 elo, guys. It gets us back above 9,000. So now we are a little bit less than 200 elo away from Masters. I guess I might have lied in the intro. I thought we were a bit closer, but barely under 200 elo away from Masters 2. Feeling really good about that first Meeple game. Definitely need to start using the Meeple more often, but that was game number 1, guys. Let's check out game number 2. Getting straight into game number 2, guys. The map is going to be Knockout out in the open. You can see the bans are Max, Jay, Mina, Mr. P, and Kaze. My team had the first pick, and we went with a Leon, which I was not very happy about, but the other team kind of squandered a little bit with the Otis and the Angelo. I feel like those weren't great picks into the Leon. I didn't really know exactly what would have been the perfect pick here, so I went with my comfort pick, my favorite brawler, my classic ego pick. We're hopping on the Mandy's Candies. So even though it wasn't my favorite draft in the world, and they get the naughty counter pick at the end, I still felt pretty decent about this draft, but I was definitely on shaky footing with my Leon. So just looking at the comps overall here, I feel like because they got the naughty last pick, they probably out-comp us by a little bit, but the Leon does well into Angelo. He does well enough into Angelo. He does great into the Leon, or into the Nani, of course. And then the Otis matchup is definitely going to be a little bit tough, but myself and Piper should be able to bully him. So off rip, we're going to have myself in the middle here. My Piper is going to be in a bit of a compromised position, and then my Leon's just going to be kind of goofing around, doing whatever he can. But as you can see, our positioning off rip is going to be pretty bad because we have no wall break and we have no water brawler. The other team obviously has that Angelo, so they're going to have the positional advantage, especially with that fat splatter too. Definitely makes it rough for our team, so we are spending the majority of the beginning of this game in our spawn. But as you can see, I've already hit 3 shots, so we're making great progress towards super. We do connect the 4th onto that Otis right there, and now we're just kind of looking for an opportunity to take advantage now. The Nani is still in a power position, but my Leon's going to make a crazy play jumping all the way up here. Maybe not the greatest trade out in the world, but he gets the Nani weak enough for myself to be able to face check her. So we get a trade right there. I'm in a horrible spot with this fat splatter, but for whatever reason, the Otis doesn't want to press me to finish off that kill, so we're stuck in a 2v2 now. My Piper hits an amazing shot, and then I immediately go with the Mandy Hyper, not the Mandy Hyper, the Mandy Super Auto Aim, and my Piper somehow gets her jump off. That is going to be able to secure that kill. I thought I was going to be stuck in a sweaty 1v1, but we end up getting the wall break with that Piper jump as well, so even though it destroys our bushes, like not the perfect Piper jump, still think it was probably the right call because now we get so much better positioning because of that. So we're going to be taking advantage. My Leon also does the invisible jump strategy, and he's going to immediately take out the Otis, which is obviously his hardest matchup. So now he's kind of got free matchups, and we're stuck in a 3v2. This should be a pretty tough game for us to lose, especially with my Leon clapping as hard as he is. So we're just going to converge on that last guy, and that's going to be enough for a game number 1 victory. So even though I did not trust my Leon first pick going into this game, he definitely played the brawler to the highest of his abilities. He made the plays he needed to make and set me and my Piper up for success. So definitely W to the Leon, even though it was a pretty sus pick, and I'll stand on that. Like, probably don't go Leon first pick, but if you can pull it off, you can pull it off, and I'm not going to hate. We are going to have somehow better positioning this time around. I feel like their Otis fat splatter was a little bit questionable, and for whatever reason, we're just able to get set up here. So my Piper's in a good spot. It is going to be a tough angle, though, but she is somehow going to be able to diff that Nani. So definitely a skill issue on the Nani's part. You should never be dying to a Piper when you have return to sender, but she folded, so we're going to end up in a 3v2 once again right here. Things are definitely looking pretty high up for us. My Leon just needs to make sure he doesn't sell right now. My Piper does finally get super, and she gets the optimal wall break, guys. If you are Piper, definitely go for that exact wall break where you break the walls, but you don't break your team's grass, because that grass is beneficial, but those walls are just going to trap you. Anyway, we've got the 3v1. I do get muted. I almost sell a little bit, but realistically, we're not losing that 3v1, bro, so I don't feel bad about it. We're going to be able to secure round number 1, and now we are a singular round away from winning our second game of the stream, so definitely feeling pretty good about this. We're going to go try to get our super right now. We are 1 singular shot away, so the faster we get that, the better I'm going to be feeling about it. Just trying to farm out this angle. I do finally get my super, but it is a little bit tough because the Angelo is rocking with jump, and the Nani obviously has return to sender, so I can't kill anybody with my super, assuming that they use their gadgets correctly. We do have the Nani head coming in hot right here, but she's not really going to be able to kill me. Actually, I guess she would have been able to kill me because I got tagged by the Nani, but I can't really kill anyone with my super. Nani can't really kill anyone with her super, so we're kind of in a little bit of a stalemate here, but my Leon does have his invisibility, so he's going to be going aggro here, trying to make a play, and he is able to catch the Otis out again, which is very interesting. I feel like as an Otis, you probably shouldn't be dying to a Leon too often. Like, that's the reason they went Otis, was to counter the Leon. My Leon does get a little bit too hot after that, though, and ends up falling down, so we're stuck in a 2v2 right here. The matchups aren't great for me. Like like I said, the Nani has returned to sender, the Angelo has jump, and I'm not even going to be able to get my super off here. We're just going to take the L on this one. My Piper's going to do what she can. She does stat farm a little bit, but realistically, once I go down there, it's not a winnable matchup anymore. So now we are at 1 round apiece. Definitely was a little bit upset with my Leon for selling the 3v2, but he made enough good plays to make up for it. Like, I'm not going to be too mad. I'm not going to hold a grudge against him. We're just trying to hold it down for now, though. My Piper very wisely gets back on defense, and the Otis Hyperstar almost connects onto me. Obviously, would have been game over if that hits right there. I'm easily dead, but we're able to survive, and I'm not really close to Hypercharge, so I'm probably just looking to see where I can get my super off here. I want to probably go for the Otis, like, once he's a little bit weak, since he doesn't have a gadget that can save his life, but my team is in a horrible spot. We are all very weak, and my Piper is going to finally fall down right there. So I'm going to go for a Hail Mary here. It does not work out. I did not predict the Otis's movement correctly. My Leon kind of wastes his super a little bit, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do in a situation like this, so no hate to him. He's going to end up falling down, though, so we are stuck in a 1v3. Kind of unwinnable, but I'm going to give it my all. I mean, it's round 3. You got to do what you got to do. We're able to juke a lot of stuff, but the Nani head gets me on her 3rd swivel around, so we're going to end up losing that game. We're going to be tied up at 1 apiece. So after being inches away from winning this game, guys, we literally had a 3v2 in round number 2 that would have won us the game in a clean sweep, but the Leon got excited. It's fair enough. We're going to end up going into round number 3. The Leon is also going to take a very risky play by going with the jump pad up there. He's 1v1ing the Nani, which is easily his best matchup, but he's going to end up getting really weak right here. All 3 members of the other team are trying to pinch him out, and he does eventually get tapped by the Angelo, but because they were going so aggro for my Leon, me and the Piper are able to combine for a kill onto the Nani. I think I hit a shot onto the Nani. Maybe it was just Piper. Anyway, that's going to be big for us. We're stuck in another 2v2 right here, but this one's more advantageous for us because me and Piper both counter the Otis pretty easily. The Angelo is like kind of a little bit of a fair matchup for Piper, pretty fair matchup for myself. So as long as we can like kind of bully this Otis out, we're going to be feeling pretty good about ourselves. I have not hit really any shots towards my super this round, but I was going to connect that if the Angelo didn't jump, so we wasted his gadget. I'm 2 shots away from super. I'm realistically just trying to get it for round number 2, though. Like, I feel like it's not really the best of timings to get it right now and just waste it at the end of round 1. Our positioning is bad. The Otis is doing a really good job keeping my Piper in. She does miss her curve too, but now I got super. I'm debating going for it, but I'm going to end up getting tickled by the smoke and thinking better of it. My Piper does an amazing job killing the Angelo, and now it's just us versus the Otis. Definitely scary right here. I thought I would have had the kill there, but I end up dying, but luckily my Piper doesn't choke as hard as I did. She's going to be able to bag that up. She's going to be able to get the kill, and now we've got the Piper wall break too, so we know that we can go up this left side now, which is definitely a huge advantage positionally for my team. Really good to get that already after 1 round, especially considering we won it. I still got my super online, not really close to a hypercharge yet, but we're just going to try to do what we can, hit as many shots as we can here. I go through the wall, just trying to get closer to that hyper. My Leon's going to force out the Angelo jump, so I'm trying to look to see if there's a chance I can hit my super on him while he doesn't have jump. Leon's going to use his super and go for something there, but I'm going to let the super fly. Little bit questionable because, like I said, the Nani's got returned to sender. I can't kill her. And I got, honestly, a little bit lucky that she couldn't kill me. But once again, my Leon gets caught out way too high. He gets an easy connection with the Nani head. So that's going to be a 2v3 for us. And this round is already looking a little bit chopped. But because I hit my super, we are going to be in position to get our hyper for the 3rd round. That's really all we can ask for at this point. So I'm just going to try to stay back, get as many shots towards my hypercharge as I can. My Piper's going to end up putting the fries in the bag and going into the smoke. But I get 2 more shots on the Otis. So I got super. I'm 1 away from hyper. And my teammates and I are both mad at the Leon right here, who is also not moving. I was very scared that he was going to check out at this point, but I think that he locks back in. Maybe he just had to reset his Wi-Fi or something. I have no idea. I do hit my final shot, though. So we've got Hypercharge online. My Leon does not have his super yet, though, so we're kind of waiting for that at this point, but me and Piper are both hypered up. I'm hitting some good shots right here, and my Piper, for the 3rd time, is going to be able to kill the Nani when she has returned to sender. No idea how that's possible. It's got to be the Nani skill issue, bro, but we got very lucky right there. Anicia played amazingly well on this Piper pick, so feeling really good about my 1 teammate. Still feeling a little bit sus about my Leon teammate. Even though he popped off in round number 1, like, you got to play pretty perfect to be able to pull that off. So now I still have my hyper. I'm kind of just, like, waiting for the end of the game at this point. My Leon is going to be moving up with his super. So I'm trying to see if we can get a little bit of a pinch going out here. My Leon's going to force out the Angelo jump, but once again, he gets up a little bit too high. We do end up dodging the Otis hypercharge 1 more time, though, but now it's about time. The smoke is closing in. I need to use my hypercharge before I lose it, so we're going to try to line it up to hit both, and we somehow actually do. We get it cycled back, and we end up missing the Angelo. It would have been a nice hit if we got it, but luckily, my Piper's going to be there to clean up the Otis kill, and that is going to be us taking a very, very sweaty game number 2. My stats weren't looking great. I still think I played pretty well, but the 2 and 4 stat line is rough. Piper went absolutely nuclear though. Maybe a little bit of kill stealing, but it's okay. No harm, no foul. 11 and 4 Piper is absolutely diabolical. Shout out to Anicia for the carry, but that's going to be our game number 2 victory, guys, and we are 2-0 to start the stream. Game number 2 ended up giving us 70 elo, guys, so we are sitting at 91-28 elo, barely over 100 away from Masters 2, so I'm going into game number 3 thinking that if we win this game and it's a juicy elo drop, it could be our Masters 2 rank up, so the stakes were high. I was very nervous, but let's see how game number 3 went. Moving into game number 3, guys, we had hot zone parallel plays for the map. The Kit, Cord, Mina, Lily, some pretty solid bans, but the other team went Juju, and then my teammate went Ems, which I was very upset about. I do not think Ems was a valid pick, especially not into Juju. Like, Juju easily has the matchup right there, but luckily we had our friend Panky on the team, who I know is a very capable Kaze, so I definitely went with that Kaze pick, knowing that I would be able to switch it out with Panky. Obviously, really good matchup into Juju, but they're gonna go Hank Meeple, which is a diabolical combination, especially in hot zone, especially on parallel plays. I was pretty comfortable going whatever Panky wanted me to go with this last pick, but he's gonna end up locking in the Larry and the Lori pick. I like it. I feel like it's decent enough into Juju. It's very good into Meeple, and then it's not great into Hank, but you're able to feed off the Hank a pretty solid amount, so I felt pretty good about the switch right there. Obviously feels good getting my boy Panky on the Kaze. He's got really good matchups except for the Hank, so pretty uneven draft just because we have the M's, but it's not the end of the world. Getting into game number 3, guys, I was a little bit less concerned than I was during the draft because I did see that my M's is in fact a 6-time master. She also has the gold M, so I'm like, okay, this is just an ego pick. She's gonna be goated on the M's. I can feel okay about this, but anyway, I'm gonna be playing on the defensive lane. My 2 teammates are gonna be playing that mid and that aggro lane. Obviously, you want Kaze on the aggro. Ems can kind of bounce around wherever we need her, but I'm going to be playing a very boring game so far. Panky does end up getting that kill, which is clutch, but I'm just trying to keep my range. I do get caught out a little bit by the Meeple, but I'm able to kind of just use my walls to my advantage and secure the trade right there. Probably would have been able to get the kill without dying if the Meeple didn't use his Scream gadget on me, but he did, and it was the right play, so we're going to end up trading that one out. My Ems uses a great super right here, and we're going to be able to pinch out this Hank relatively easily. She does end up getting the Hank does end up killing my M's right there, so a little bit of an unfortunate trade, but I get my first super, I let it take a little bit of damage, and then teleport it right back to me. Obviously not the greatest play in the world, but, you know, it's a little bit, it's kind of what we needed for the pressure in the moment right there. My M's already has Hyper, though, so she's going to pop off. She's going to kill the Hank pretty easily. And then, even though we haven't got too much done on the offensive zone, we are definitely beating the other team so far, thanks to Panky's aggression, thanks to Panky's prowess. So my Ems is going to be playing defense with this super, not really going to be able to do too much with it, but with the Meeple super on that wall, she really can't move up much higher than that. So she's going to pop off with that acid gadget, and we're just trying to play defense right now. We've got about a 15% lead. We don't want to squander it at this point. I know that we could, like, all force the aggro, but my job is just to play defense, bro. I just got to keep them off the zone as much as I can. The Hank is going to pop Hyper to push, but we're just going to play our Larry bot behind us to defend a little bit more. We are able to secure the kill onto the Hank, and Panky is up on the offensive zone right now. So the Juju's got to make a choice here. She chooses to go back. Even though Panky's able to kill the Meeple right there, so we just got to provide as much support as we can. With 5% left on the zone, though, this game is looking pretty over. Me and the M's are going to give it a little quick spin right there, and that's going to be round number 1 in the bag for my team. So moving into round number 2, we kind of know the formula at this point. I got to play good defense. I got to keep my range if the Meeple or the Hank try to push in, and then we just need Panky to do whatever he can on the offensive side until we can provide him some support. My M's played really well in game 1, so I'm feeling a lot more confident about the M's pick going into game number 2. We see that Panky does die immediately, so I'm expecting them to push up a little bit more aggro, but the other team is kind of playing scared at this point. They have like one guy up here on the left. Is that Meeple? Yeah, they have the Meeple pushing on the left, but nobody else. I don't really get why they would send the Meeple towards me. I feel like if anybody, they should send the Juju or the Hank on me. Pretty much anybody except the Meeple. It's definitely my freest matchup, and my other teammates are going to have the freest matchup, so I feel like the other team did a bad job situating their lanes right here. I'm just going to be able to play the most passive Larry game of all time and keep this Meeple completely off our zone. I do realize at this point that there's really no benefit to me being up there, so I'm just going to play behind these walls as much as I physically can, still get tapped because I do not understand Meeple range, but they finally switched the Juju onto me. She kind of wastes her Gree a little bit. I mean, she's going to be able to get a little bit of percentage, but not really anything too crazy. I do a really good job juking there to secure the regen, and now we're going to be pushing back up onto the Juju. I hit a nice double tap there, but that shield is going to be really annoying for me to deal with, so I'm going to play my pet down here, try to be a little bit more aggro with it. Not quite able to secure the kill onto the Juju, but she barely got any time on our zone, and my team is on their zone, so I'm feeling really good about the game flow so far. We do lose our M's, but Panky's going to come back for that kill, and now I decide, like, okay, Panky's up there by himself. Let's just see if we can camp out on the zone and win this game right here. The Meeple Hyper goes down, so that's very scary for myself. I'm going to have to stay back a little bit, but Panky's going as crazy as he can with that super right here. We only need 4 more %, and the M's gadget with the M super is going to be enough to secure it. So even though I hated the M's pick and I kind of didn't like our draft that much, it worked out really well. Maybe because Panky's just the GOAT and carried, maybe because M's is tough actually and I'm sleeping on her, but overall, really solid win. Feel like I played my defensive role the best that I could. So that's going to be game number 3, guys. We are 3-0 to start off this stream right now. And like I said before the game, we are about 110 to 120 elo away from Masters 2. So at this point, I am extremely nervous. I'm really hoping that we're going to get the M2 rank up right now. And unfortunately for us, we don't. We get 89 elo. We are 33 elo away from Masters 2. So even with the 3-0 start, still not enough to secure that M2. We are going to have to hop into a game number 4 and see if we can put the finishing touches on our Masters 2 season. Getting into game number 2, guys, we got Brawl Ball, we've got Pinball Dreams, and we have a guaranteed M2 rank up if we're able to get this W right here. The bans are Nani, Meeple, Shade, Mina, Cordelius, no, Mina, Shelly, and Shade again. So I guess a couple of unserious bans in here. But anyway, we are going to have the Cord first pick. They go with Byron Dog, and my teammate goes with a Kenji, who I still think is a pretty solid pick into like a Byron Dog comp. Definitely not mad about it. I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to go, but I knew I needed to counter out this Diggity Dog pick since my Cord doesn't. And I wanted to go with something that can kind of play mid if necessary. So we're going to hop on the Squeak pick here. Not a great matchup into the Byron, but with the Tom Brady shots, I should be able to do decently well. So that was kind of my thought process here. I'm kind of looking through my brawlers to see if there was anything better that I could have went with. I think that with the chat's help, the only other brawler that we came to the conclusion of that might have been good is Carl. But we ended up going with the Squeak. They're going to go with the Otis, which I think is very smart from them. Hard counters Kenji, hard counters Cordelius. I'm really the only good matchup into the Dog and into the freaking Otis, so I feel like a lot of the weight of this comp is going to be on my back right here. I've got to make sure that I'm dialed in, even though I'm going to be midding the Byron. Hopping into game number 4, guys, our Masters 2 rank up game. I also noticed that their Otis is, in fact, a pro rank player, so definitely feeling the pressure right here. We got a good player on the other team, and we've got a questionable comp from ourselves, but our Kenji is going to move up and immediately kill the Dog. He hits a super onto the Byron, so I'm just trying to provide as much help as we can right here, but it's pretty much a guaranteed goal, especially with my Cord taking that guy to the realm. We're going to be able to score off the back of our Kenji. He played an amazing beginning of the game. Couldn't really ask for anything better than him. So we're just going to lock in, try not to get tapped up in the middle too hard, but things aren't looking the best for myself, especially with my Kenji dying here, but we're just going to take out these dog bags, make sure that's not going to be an issue. We missed a Tom Brady shot again, which is very frustrating. And now they've got the dog wall break coming in hot, so we're going to have to play a little bit better defense on this side of things. My Kenji's going to clear the rock out of there and use a super. I think he missed both of his swipes right there, so a little bit unfortunate for him, but we've got the dog in the corner. We're going to be able to secure that kill, which kind of secures our defense for the time being. Cord's got somebody in the realm, and I see where he is, so I'm seeing if maybe I can get the ball up to him, but I kind of doom him a little bit because he spawns on the ball. Obviously, that wastes a piece of ammo for him, but I do hit my Tom Brady onto the Byron finally. They're very weak up here. My Kenji's in a good spot, but he's going to end up getting pinched out, so that's probably going to be the end of our offensive push here. I know I'm dead to the Byron, so I'm just trying to get as much value as I can, but really not that much value to speak of. My Cord almost kills the dog. Very unlucky that he wasn't able to secure that, but he does take the other guy to the realm. Not really going to be able to do much with it. Same goes for my Kenji. Probably shouldn't have picked up the ball right there, but not a huge deal. The dog does waste his bags on me, though, but they've got an Otis hyper and a Byron hyper coming in hot for me. I'm just trying to stall as much as I can with that super right there. My Kenji's just tanking a whole lot of this damage right here, but he's probably cooked to the dog. Never mind. Amazing play from the Kenji. He gets the heal off. He gets the swipe off, and now we've got a power position here. The other two enemies are both kind of weak, but they do have a treated up Otis. And if you know anything about Otis, he already has a lot of damage. So with the treat, he's going to have an ungodly amount of damage. The Byron hyper comes in hot too, so I'm going to be weak. I miss my gadget. My Kenji's just doing a good job stalling as much as he can. And my Cord's still in a really good spot, so we're trying to see if we can get the ball up to him. Kenji does get the pass off, but now it's just myself against a Byron with super and a Otis with dog treat. I try to hit my gadget, but realistically, not a whole lot I can do there. I end up stalling just long enough for my Kenji to get back, though. He does get muted, but somehow, some way, we're able to secure that defense right there with 15 seconds left on the clock. So very nerve-wracking stuff. I just want to pop my hyper to try to burst down the Byron, but it's going to be too little too late. He's got the angle for the super shot. So very unfortunate. I feel like we probably should have been winning at this point, but we are going to end up going into OT right now. But my team has great positioning. My Kenji has hyper. I'm going to end up supering it into the one place that I couldn't super it to. But luckily, we get bailed out by my teammates. I was a horrible super shot. I'll be the first to admit, but it doesn't matter. We still get round 1 in the bag. So now we are one singular game away from capping off our Masters 2 season, bro. The tension is high. The nerves are going, and I am definitely trying to make sure that we're focused up. So I do hit my initial Tom Brady shot. Doesn't really matter because the Byron immediately spam heals him, but hey man, a hit is a hit. My Kenji's got amazing positioning, but he does get a little bit too excited. He dies to the Byron splash. Not the best for us, but my Cord takes somebody to the realm. I'm going to hit another gadget shot. I'm absolutely dialed on my gadgets after that first game. Not really too sure what's going on in the realm up there, but I know that my cord's probably in a decent spot. Unfortunately, the Otis pops out of the realm right directly onto my face. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill Kenji. And we're not going to be able to secure a goal up there. But luckily, the ball's not up here, so we have the defense secured. I'm just going to throw my super there, try to keep the Otis as far away as possible. But he does get treated regardless. Finally miss a gadget shot, and I'm going to be quite weak in our spawn right here. My cord gets the realm off, though. But then there goes the Otis Hypercharged Star. It's going to absolutely demolish my Kenji. So I'm trying to kill this Otis if I can. And I actually secure the bag right there, which is huge. Because like I said, he was dog treated. So now we got a 1v1 on the Byron. Trying to wiggle as much as we can. My cord's going to be just up here trying to farm out a little bit of super, but the dog bags are obviously going to be a huge counter for him. I want to help out, but I really can't. I end up hitting my super onto the Otis, though, somehow not enough to secure the kill, and he gets immediately juiced up by the Byron. So that would have been a big splash if I was able to get that. Unfortunately, not the case, but my Kenji hits a good super. We have a really powerful positioning up here. It's just the Otis left, and all of my team is up. I swing the ball to my cord, but he is a little bit, unfortunately, muted. Luckily for us, it doesn't matter. We're going to be able to force that through. Definitely good job by my team, all playing aggro at the same time to secure the goal when we had a chance. I do end up hitting another gadget, but the Otis is freaking powered up again for the millionth time, bro. This guy is pretty much living with a permanent dog treat at this point. My cord's going to jump up. My Kenji's in a good spot, but there is an Otis hypercharge. It's going to kill me. It's going to kill my Kenji, and now he's going to be able to get the ball. I do not think we're going to be able to get back in time to defend with just a Kenji. So yeah, my Kenji tries his very hardest. Not going to be enough. That Otis hypercharge pop-off was too much for us to overcome. So once again, we score immediately, and then we get scored on immediately after. So we are going to have 30 seconds left before overtime. Definitely feeling pretty nervous now that we gave up an equalizer. Hard to push up into a Byron as a squeak unless you can really juke every single shot. So I'm going to be on like half my HP. My cord's in a great spot, and he hits his realm, which is going to keep him alive a lot longer. I think I hit that gadget, though. So we're in a good spot here. My Kenji's going to be moving up. He can kind of kill the dog freely, but he, for whatever reason, doesn't decide to. But luckily for us, it's just me versus the Otis, and I'm going to be able to force it through right before the Starfish connects, guys. So that's going to be game number 2 in the bag. So we're going to end up getting that final goal. We're going to end up securing the bag. Even though the Kenji went 6-10, I still think he played about as good as he could have. Definitely feels bad for their pro rank Otis going 10-5, getting star player, and still taking the L right there. But a good squeak game. But guys, that's going to be all I've got for this voiceover video. I really hope you enjoyed, even though it's a little bit different from what we usually do. But let me know if this is the type of video you'd like to see more of in the future. Now, before we hit that proceed button, guys, I'm going to go ahead and send it back to the stream, Duncan, so you guys can see my live, authentic reaction to hitting Masters 2 for the first time this season. Let's go! Oh my god! We did it! We did it! We did it! We get the game-winning goal, bro! Oh, yes! 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 Oh, oh my god! Oh! Holy crap, bro. What a game! What a game, bro! What a game, bro! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious, bro. Okay, let's see it. Let's see it, bro. We did it! Yes, sir! Oh my god, dude. My heart is beating. My heart is pumping, bro. Oh, that was so electric, bro. We gotta press the button for the one time. Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert. Barbecue chicken alert. Let's go. Oh my god, chat. 150 elo, bro. Let's get it, bro. Let's get it, baby. Like the stream, sub to the channel, DBS to the moon.